Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the world of Bob Camblin. He's often described in these quite striking terms, a iconoclastic, enigmatic, even a mystical trickster figure. Exactly. And we've got a great mix of material, his own words, pieces from books about him, even a YouTube video he was part of.
Hmm.
And what really comes through is this picture of an artist who was just deeply engaged with ideas, with philosophy, and definitely not afraid to shake things up.
Yeah,
So our mission really is to unpack some of the big themes, the unique perspectives that keep cropping up in all this stuff.
sounds good. And it's fascinating just looking at his path,
Yeah.
born in Oklahoma in 1928,
Right,
studied seriously at the Kansas City Art Institute,
right,
even got a Fulbright, went to Italy,
right.
taught for a while at universities.
Mm-hmm.
But then in 76, he makes this huge shift.
To become a nomadic artist.
Exactly, which just speaks volumes about his dedication, I think, and his actual work, oils, acrylics, watercolors, drawings, prints,
Mm.
this painted paper technique. It's actually pretty scarce and really sought after, which kind of adds to the whole mystique, doesn't it?
It really does. And almost straight away, you see him kind of grappling with, well, what is art, really? He talks about moving past that whole art for art's sake idea.
Right, which can feel a bit
It's
separate.
attached
Ah,
towards something much more essential. Art for life's sake, art for my sake, even art for survival's sake.
that's a big shift.
Yeah.
It's just art wasn't just, making nice things. It was fundamental to living.
Absolutely. Which makes you wonder how that changes your whole approach as an artist.
It does. And that seems to flow right into his idea of a participatory type of art. He even says, and this is pretty provocative, if I believe it's art, then it is.
Wow. Okay. That really challenges the gatekeepers, doesn't it?
Totally. It sort of democratizes the whole thing. It's not about external rules. It's about the artist's own conviction. What do you think about that power?
It's radical, isn't it? And you can see he's looking at the art world around him, especially consumer culture, and noticing this change, moving away from art that maybe makes you stop and think quietly
Contemplation, yeah.
towards stuff that hits you immediately, that shock and recognition he mentions.
Oh, absolutely. Modern advertising kind of runs on that principle.
Right. And it seems tied to his views on quality versus concept.
Yeah, he says something like, quality is a more ephemeral aspect of the problem. He saw concept becoming much more dominant over, say, traditional technique.
So what's more valuable, the skill or the idea? He seems to lean towards the idea gaining ground.
It seems that way. And in that context, he sees the artist as this uniquely free figure.
The artist today is the only free agent.
That's a bold statement.
It is. Maybe free from certain constraints others face. But then he takes aim at critics.
Oh, yeah, that line is sharp.
The legless man who teaches running.
Oof, that really paints a picture, doesn't it?
It really does. Captures that tension between doing and commenting perfectly. Makes you think about critique in general. And he clearly valued communication beyond words. Drawing, he points out, is ancient, maybe even older than weapons, a kind of nonverbal language. And he saw the concept itself as nonverbal, too. Like, there's a deeper way to get ideas across through art.
Which connects to finding your own mystic switch, that inner sense of, yes, this is it.
That gut feeling.
Yeah, that resonance. And he says it's not fixed, it changes. It's a very personal, evolving thing. Have you ever felt that switch flick?
It's a powerful metaphor. And it ties into his distinction between believing and knowing.
Right. He suggests a lot of us just inherit beliefs, but mystics, they know something else.
Through direct experience.
Seems like it. Something beyond just logic. He talks about balancing intuition and reason,
That balance seems key. And then he says, art is and it isn't, and now everyone knows.
which sounds almost like a riddle.
Totally. And then right after, love art.
Okay, so art is fluid, maybe unknowable in a way, but also equivalent to love. That's something to chew on.
Definitely. And then we seek too hard and miss the way. Maybe a call to just be more open, less forceful.
Makes sense. Like trying too hard gets in the way of actually finding what you're looking for. Applies to a lot, probably.
And his advice on learning is unconventional. Resist learning, learn to fail, learn to relax, learn to feel, learn how to really think.
Wow. So not just absorbing facts, but really experiencing learning, embracing failure as part of it. That's pretty profound.
Then there's this whole idea about magic. He separates magic for power, which he sees as negative,
Right.
from magic for seeing, which is positive, linked to insight, to art.
So seeing both intellectually and maybe intuitively is the path to art. Not just copying reality, but understanding it on a deeper level.
Exactly. And he describes real perception as this complex whirlpool of relationships.
Okay.
And art is just the partial retention of that. Like, you can never capture the whole thing.
Like trying to cup water in your hands, you always lose some.
Yeah. And he sees the struggle for artists in this disposable art culture where everyone wants the next new thing.
The novelty trap.
Right. What compromises do you make? How do you stay true to making something unique and solid? It's a constant tension.
It really is. A timeless problem for creators. But he seems hopeful that genuine artistic intention can still cut through all that noise.
He seems to believe in that individual purpose. Then he drops this bomb. Knowledge does not and cannot educate. The feeling cannot be transferred except by experience.
Wow. That really doubles down on direct experience being paramount. Reading about swimming versus actually getting in the water.
Totally different. And then this advice, which feels surprisingly kind: there are no mistakes. You are doing the best you can. And mistakes are nature's way of telling you to trust your instincts, or the next mistake could be really bad.
That's actually quite liberating, isn't it? Takes the pressure off, allows for the process.
Yeah.
Very compassionate.
He uses this great image, two bits of a hologram arguing instead of working together,
Right.
which leads to his idea of a hologram, that when things come together, the picture gets clearer.
That's a fantastic metaphor for collaboration, for seeing the bigger picture. By combining perspectives, you could apply that anywhere.
For sure. And then this almost cosmic view. We are, in fact, living in the past, present, and looking into the future.
Okay.
It is a focus for Hilbert's space, since we all are here for one reason: to dream is how it works, and to bark and sing in harmony, each with our own limited instruments.
Whoa. That's deep. Like, we're all part of this multi-layered reality trying to figure it out and express our own small part. Beautifully put.
And the artist, like a hawk riding the currents of the territory.
Nice. Attuned, moving with the flow, but focused. Effortless mastery, almost.
Then this idea of the way back, long silence, melting rocks, infinite space, eternal time.
Sounds like stripping everything away, getting back to something fundamental. Pure being, maybe.
Could be. And then, almost flipping it: futility and provocation at war with one another, not important. Be free, dolce far niente. Carefree idleness.
So acknowledge the struggle, then just let go. Embrace ease. I like that.
He also brings in quotes from Shinichi Suzuki: art as expressing the whole person, art existing for humanity.
With this duty to save the world.
Yeah, so connecting his own practice to this much larger, almost ethical purpose.
And he clearly felt Alan Watts' idea of being connected to everything, that sense in nature that you are that vast thing.
That feeling of unity beyond the self.
Yeah. And William James, too, an idea needing the force of revelation and the power of belief. Belief creates the actual fact.
Which really emphasizes personal insight and how much our convictions shape reality. Ever had an idea hit you like that, like a revelation?
Maybe moments. Makes you think. And he connects with Sartre, too. Being is the inescapability of thought, that existential baseline.
It feels foundational for him, and the Zen proverb, those who know don't tell.
And those who tell don't know.
You're right.
Some understanding is beyond words.
He liked Bergson's idea, too, that intellect isn't enough. We need some other faculty to grasp reality.
Again, pointing to intuition, direct experience. Kussler, too, creativity as learning, starting where language fails.
It's a recurring theme. And young creation coming from the play instinct, playing with things you love.
Well, it brings a sense of joy to it, doesn't it? Not just hard work.
Yeah. And that other Jungian thought: the mind swings between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong.
Liberating. Not everything has to fit neat categories.
He also liked Jung's stance on belief. I don't believe. Either I know a thing and then I know it. I don't need to believe it.
Strong preference for knowing through experience, not just faith.
He pulls from Fowles the Magus too: self-acceptance, hazard, answering life's big questions yourself.
Reinforces that individual journey idea.
Dostoevsky on things we hide even from ourselves. Salinger on art making you slightly unhappy constantly.
That Salinger quote is interesting. That indefinable feeling art can give.
Updike on creativity stemming from care, art offering breathing room for the spirit.
And Durrell art as a joyous compromise with life's difficulties, fulfilling potential through imagination.
Using imagination not to escape, but to engage. And Huxley: consistency is contrary to nature. Only the dead are consistent.
Embracing paradox, fluidity,
Yeah.
it all fits.
He even offers this ecological take: maybe artists just being helps balance a world gone very wrong.
Wow, attributing a kind of passive essential role to artists. Interesting.
And his description of creating juggling 80 billion dust motes into a logic bottle.
That captures the chaos and the attempt at order, and feeling the captured truth is close, but still filtered through himself. Honest.
Very. And always returning to that tension. Making unique work in consumer culture demanding shock what compromises.
Seemed like that question never really left him.
Then we get these really personal glimpses. Fortunately, some things remain forever or another 10 years perhaps.
That little kicker at the end, acknowledging permanence and impermanence at once. Wistful.
And those tiny observations like about the cottonwood trees, almost like little poems.
Like photographs and words, capturing a fleeting moment.
There's that really moving bit about the memory of songs and music stopping as time visibly takes its toll.
Oof. Yeah, that sense of even deeply felt memories fading. Powerful. I felt that.
Definitely. He talks about finding completion in nature, then surrendering.
Like nature is a path to peace or understanding.
And this kind of mantra, the light is all you need. The end is to evolve by doing the best you can. The means is to amplify what you're doing and believe.
That really distills it down, doesn't it? Inner belief, growth, amplifying your actions.
We get these poetic fragments, too, on balance, patience, freedom, silence, like scattered pieces of insight.
Invites you to ponder them yourself.
And that raw honesty. I cannot tell a lie to myself for very long.
Takes courage to get to that point, I think.
Yeah.
Self-awareness.
This thought, too. Bright day and I soar, how cruel that my soul is attached to this earth and yet.
That classic tension. Aspiration versus limitation. Resonates, doesn't it? That feeling of reaching for more.
Totally. And this advice. Sublime in the ridiculous. Look for the forgotten, but become what you are, less only is.
Find beauty anywhere. Seek the overlooked, but also simplify. Get down to the essence of yourself. Intriguing.
Then this amazing riff. Step off the train of thought to find the power that is no power, to do the work that is not work. To laugh the true laugh that keeps going.
Bending is not bowing. Balancing and being for and against. Missed the clouds. Regretted it. Then lightning, the mind ripped out to reach the still pond.
Wow. It's like a call to break free from rigid thinking, embrace intuition, fluidity, even playfulness.
A whole different state of mind.
In his contrasting advice, when you think, don't act. When you act, don't think.
Be fully present in one mode or the other. Avoid the conflict of trying both. Makes sense.
There's that little story, the guy listening to talk about changing the world, then pays with 21 cents and leaves.
A quiet commentary on the gap between big talk and small actions, maybe. Subtle but pointed.
And his descriptions are so vivid, the cosmos waving through leaves and sunlight. He had a real poet's eye.
Definitely saw the connections, the subtle details.
His 3-act observation about the tower and the clouds ending just before the storm hits.
Yeah, like a story cut short. The power of what doesn't happen. Uncertainty.
He mentions being brought back to his senses by rain-soaked willows.
Nature as an anchor. Grounding you in the now. Ever had that happen? Nature just snapping you back.
Oh, yeah. And noticing his writing slowed down when someone walked past slowly.
A lovely little insight into how connected we are, how subtle things influence us.
This line really gets me. There is one joy that exceeds all other, and that's all I'll say.
Leaves you hanging, doesn't it? Wondering what that ultimate joy was for him. Makes you think about your own.
Feeling a cool breeze when not a leaf moves. Those little moments of unexplained wonder.
Yeah, the cracks in the ordinary.
Choosing to look at his watercolor palette instead of arguing.
A conscious choice for beauty and peace over conflict. Says a lot.
Simple definitions. White is white, black is black. But people are seen.
Right. Moving beyond simple labels for human complexity.
His quick nod to Mother Nature, playful, personal connection.
Yeah, nice touch.
Those fragmented thoughts at an intersection just captures the buzz of everyday consciousness.
Perfectly.
And his advice on ending arguments with pessimists versus optimists. Practical, wry wisdom.
Learn from experience, you figure.
Asking if our perception of people fades with distance. Delves into memory, relationships.
Good question.
And the irony. My attempts to stop arguing created an argument.
So relatable. Trying to change habits can be tricky.
And this key distinction, if you argue or if you agree, you may learn, but you do not communicate.
Separates intellectual exchange from real connection. That's important.
The metaphor of the open gate and broken fence for searching without knowing what for.
Captures that feeling of being lost, needing direction.
His view on revolution versus evolution for mental balance, preferring gradual change.
Inner transformation over disruption.
The old wisdom. You never miss the water until the wells run dry.
A classic. Appreciate things while you have them.
These little haiku-like bits keep popping up. Starlings, clouds, a trapped fish.
Concise, visual glimpses into how he saw things.
Thinking about coming back as a fly just to sit in the sun.
A moment of lightness, maybe wanting simplicity.
Describing darning needles, sewing shimmerline tapestries. Finding art in the everyday.
Yeah, elevating the mundane.
Sensory snippets, bleached, textured, and white. Warning against the lamp fate. Creates these little surreal scenes.
Engages the senses.
Just quick look at a canvas. Canvas rectangle, summer light, calligraphy, mystic and complete.
Like a mini meditation, finding wholeness in simple things.
Then these really strange pairings. Eater of Christians, Chimera Byzantium, warm, cold, children's chair.
Whoa. Yeah, those juxtapositions really make you stop and think, what does that mean? Resists easy answers.
Fleeting images like fragile grayed lady. Quick, evocative portraits.
Captures a whole story in a few words. Ephemeral.
Using sound words, onomatopoeia for a marble island, brings it alive.
Sensory language.
Personifying August's heat, the flat banyan trees, giving nature human qualities.
Makes it relatable, emotional.
The dramatic Icarus lines, fall, wax and feathers. Then quieter reflections.
Creates this powerful contrast. Ambition, consequences, reflection. Big themes.
Direct addresses to a sandpiper, waves, rocks, makes the connection immediate. Very intimate with nature. More sensory details, iridescent wings, a sinking shell, moments of beauty, maybe melancholy.
Fleeting beauty.
A quick note on his first child, grounding it in profound personal experience.
Life events shaping the art.
Seeing himself in a strange mirror, thinking of youth, change.
Time passing. Universal theme.
White magic, white lies, leading to thoughts of twisted limbs and mind.
Exploring that duality again. Light and dark, deception.
An egg in brown leaves, then nothing changes.
Cycles of life. Underlying permanence within the flux. Makes you ponder.
Ragged wheels of silk. Minuscule dragons observed by Buddha spiders. Then admitting the dragon wasn't real. Well, perhaps next time.
Playful mix of observation and imagination with that self-aware comment. Charming.
The image of a jawless monster sundial. Stark, maybe about time and decay. Unsettling.
Definitely evocative.
Weeds shaking in spring winds. Simple energy of nature.
Capturing subtle life.
Blue pictures pulsing. The faded image breathes once. The tattooed hand waits.
Creates this atmosphere of mystery, memory, waiting.
Asking what stirs a seed pod, dragonfly, shriveled weed. That deep curiosity about life's forces.
Always questioning the why beneath the surface.
Blue bottle banquet, leading to tide-washed necklaces. Transforming trash into treasure.
Finding beauty in the discarded, seeing history in objects.
Venetian images, canals, palazzi, rain muffling crying, loss mixed with beauty.
Rich imagery, complex emotion.
That line of pure frustration, the painted eye sees more than mine, and God damn it, I see nothing yet.
Oh, the artist's struggle. Feeling limited by your own perception, aspiring to more. So relatable for any creator.
Wonder at a strange device whirled by a figure of my mind. A beautiful dance.
Celebrating the imagination's power, its unexpected beauty.
Gargoyles gargling.
Just playful absurdity, lightens the mood.
Finding fragments of a memory. Bones of Icarus off the shore.
Weaving personal memory, myth, ambition, loss together again. Powerful.
The simple feeling of relaxing in a hammock.
Rounding moments.
His take on nostalgia brief. A trigger for deeper primal memories.
Not wallowing, but using it as a key to unlock something else. Interesting.
And that ego metaphor. A goldfish's shit folded under the waving tail.
Blunt, but effective. Puts the ego in its place visually.
And finally, that wry comment on teaching. First year, I assumed. The second year, I capitulated. The third year, I'm teaching.
A humorous, maybe resigned, take on the arc of adapting to academic life.
It wasn't just solo work, though, was it? He had this real collaborative streak.
Definitely. With Earl Staley, Joe Tate, forming groups like B&E Productions, The Holding Firm.
And those show titles, Tattoo Show, Joe Tate's Backyard, The Camping Show. Sounds like they had fun.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
And this core belief in submerging the ego, right? Signing work anonymous artists.
Yeah, that's significant. Plus that Mushas Volantes style he developed later with Nancy Giordano. It challenges the lone genius idea.
It really does. Suggest the shared process, the collective vision, was maybe more important to him than individual fame. Choosing anonymity is a statement.
He started teaching at Rice in Houston back in '67. Apparently hit it off with Earl Staley, the professor.
Yeah, they shared studios, started B&E Productions,
Yeah.
but it sounds like he clashed a bit with the formal art game.
Had a tricky relationship with galleries, museums. Eventually left teaching. Makes you wonder about those pressures.
Earl Staley's memories really bring that time alive, the shared space, the rule-bending project.
Doing without permits.
Right. Shows Camblin's rebellious side, and Staley crediting Camblin with teaching him fundamentals. That shows his impact as a teacher.
Then there's that video, The Dance of the Sandpiper.
Quirky premise. A sandpiper talking philosophy with the sea and voices of Einstein, Buddha, Socrates, Seneca, Wayne Dyer.
Quite the lineup.
But the core of it is that journey, right? The sandpiper afraid of the water, clinging to the shore, and then finally taking that step into the waves. It's such a great metaphor for overcoming fear, entering the unknown.
Finding freedom, becoming part of both worlds. You can totally see the connection for anyone learning or exploring something new, that leap.
Exactly.
And the book Zen and the Art of Everything sounds like it perfectly blends his art and philosophy, using sketches as questions disguised as images.
Exploring paradox, illusion, stillness. Sounds very Camblin.
Reviews mention how he takes ordinary things, a trap, a tattoo, a frog, and makes them deeply symbolic.
That knack for seeing the profound in the everyday seems central to his whole approach.
And the other book, Zen and the Art of Enlightenment, pushes it further, challenging how we see things.
Yeah, using his illustrations described as strange, humorous, unsettling, almost like visual koans, meant to shake up your thinking.
Aiming for everyday enlightenment by embracing absurdity, impermanence.
Right. Not offering easy answers, but acting as a tool for self-reflection, engaging with it to spark your own insights.
Yeah, and hearing from people who knew him adds so much. Pete Gershon calling him that mystical trickster figure.
George O. Jackson Jr. talking about reading his art like a book suggests that depth.
Earl Staley on his lasting impact. Penny Serling on his questioning mind, love of collaboration. Carolyn Farb on the personal nature of his art.
Even Staley's stories about his later life, Oregon, Louisiana, that last visit to Houston, they add to the picture of this complex, maybe elusive figure who kind of stepped away.
These personal takes really fill him out, don't they?
They absolutely do. They give you a sense of the person behind the sometimes enigmatic work. The emphasis on his mystery just makes him more intriguing.
So wrapping up this deep dive, these themes just keep surfacing, don't they? Questioning art's purpose, that huge emphasis on personal experience, intuition.
Right, that collaborative side too, exploring paradox, hidden meanings, and this constant journey towards some kind of personal, everyday enlightenment.
And it really makes you think, how do these ideas connect to our own learning, our own curiosity? His work kind of pushes you to look deeper, embrace ambiguity.
Find meaning in the ordinary, yeah.
Yeah.
And that idea of his stepping off the train of thought. Maybe that's a useful practice for anyone trying to learn or understand things more deeply.
Could be. And one last thought to leave people with. His choice to sign work as anonymous.
Yeah.
In a world so focused on individual credit and fame, what's the power in letting go of the ego like that and creating? How might thinking about anonymity change how we engage with learning or sharing ideas?
That's a really interesting question to mull over. What happens when you remove the I from the equation? Definitely food for thought.